my mother, I'll never forget, we had a conversation about a particular situation. And I said, I can respect this person because when you could acknowledge your faults and your weaknesses as a leader, I have even more respect for you. And I think that it's like an oxymoron. People think, oh, I'm showing my weak side. Especially, and women, we can show it all day. But even this was a male leader. And I was like, wow, I really respect that about him. And now I really want to get in there and be more committed to the cause because this person is not only showing empathy and humanity, but honesty, integrity, and just being forthcoming. And I think that goes such a long way as a leader, in this world now.
You're listening to the First Class Life Show hosted by Lindsay Vertner, a holistic personal development show for high-achieving leaders who desire to maximize their impact while creating a life full of purpose, fulfillment, and happiness. So grab a drink, grab your notebook, and let's get started.
Hey, world. Welcome back to another episode of the First Class Life Show with your host, Lindsay Vertner. That's me, as you know. And we have another phenomenal guest on today's show, ready to pour into you by the name of Felicia Shakespeare. And I know that y'all are out there creating y'all's first class life, right? Full of purpose, fulfillment, and happiness. I know you are trying to maximize your impact, which means you don't got a lot of time to spare. So we're grateful that you're here spending it with us. And we just going to hop right into the conversation like we do on the First Class Life Show. Okay. So Miss Felicia, welcome.
Hi, Lindsay. How are you? So happy to be here today.
I am good, and we are happy to have you here with us, the First Class Life family. Now, I've had the opportunity to get to know you in previous months, and I just want you to share, who is Felicia Shakespeare? Tell us who you are, girlfriend. Give us the good tea, okay?
Thank you so much again. When I think of that question, I think of a lot of things. Just number one, first and foremost, a human being, right? A person that's touched by a lot of different things. When I think of my life, you just have me flashback. When you have so many series of events and different things that make you who you are. I really believe my life has been full of a lot of different things. It's a whole pot of soup. So when I say that, a mixture, there have been triumphs, there have been challenges. Born in the city of Chicago. On the west side, and I always try to add the best side because there's always a little rivalry between the south side and the west side. I don't know why in the city of Chicago, but actually I'm a little bit of best of both worlds. But long and short, I was born in this wonderful city and came up at a time where just a lot of things weren't like they are now. When I say that, I really mean that I was just a young girl that was very eager, full of life, wanting to just do something with my life. I don't know, when I think back to that drive, it was always something in me. And I know that has a lot to do with the way you are raised, with the folks that are around you. So when I think of my parents and when I think of the life I had as a child, one thing my father always would tell my mother, let her talk, let her ask questions. So I was always very inquisitive. And even that parlayed into being a very engaged student. I just love school, right? I don't know. I know my brother thought I was weird, but I was that kid that loved going to school, hated to miss school because I think it had a lot to do with Lindsay, how my teachers at that time made me feel, how they invested in me. And that's why even that education is so important. I look back at my experience as a student, and I know that had a lot to do with formulating my idea and ideals of what life would be like one day in the future. So, born and raised in Chicago, a daughter, a sister, a friend, colleague, a lot of different hats I wear.
Yes, like so many of us, so many different roles that we put on day in and day out. But I noticed that you mentioned, the environment that you were raised in, because that can really influence who we are. Well, not really, it does influence who we become. And it's crazy how some people can go in the negative light or the positive light. And just understanding how much our upbringing makes a difference for us. So you mentioned your parents, you mentioned your education, like your teachers and things like that.
Yes.
And as you were speaking, it made me think of a recent post that I saw where this young lady, she was upset. And so she had made this post and she was hoping that one of her son's previous teachers would eventually see it, because basically the teacher killed his dream.
Okay.
He was just a young kid and he was making his music, and he like made a beat, made a song, had his friends in the video, and made a YouTube video all by himself. And I'm talking like her child is less than 10 years old. So he had showed it to his teacher and was like, what do you think of my video? Really excited. And basically the teacher shot it down. Like, she hated it. And he stopped doing music after that. And he was just having a discussion with his mom in hindsight, because it was like a little while before. And so she had made that post like, I hope you see this, because you killed his dream, like his moment. And now he's like, is very apprehensive to do anything towards music, all because of what you said to him. So as you were speaking, like that story just popped into my head. Tell us a little bit more about, it sounds like you had a lot of positive, influential people around you, but have you ever had anyone kind of be negative in your upbringing ever?
Oh, absolutely. When I think back, like I was saying, it's the adults that I could recall that had the greater impact at that time. But when I think about a lot of the cases of students and other classmates, that was a part. And I wrote about this. I had did this anthology project back in 2016. And I never forget, it was like a mini memoir. And I talked about my growing up in the city of Chicago. And I think back to how children can be very, very cruel. A lot of times when children don't have what they think that someone else has, or what they think that they deserve, I don't know what the case may be in a child's mind. But I know when I look back, there was a moment in my life where I was actually dealing with bullying, and particularly being bullied. And I didn't know it at the time because I didn't really have that name. But long and short, it was always like, oh, she thinks she's this, she thinks she's that, or because I had a certain type of hair. Thank God for this hair. We were talking about hair before the show, because you had long hair and you had fine curly hair, and it was just little thing. Kids said they take jabs at you, so I didn't really understand. Of course, that was like third grade, and but I can distinctly remember, and I won't name her name for the sake of propriety, but I still remember the person's name. And this person really gave me a hard time, to the extent where my dad literally had to come up to the school. So I had those old school parents, like, you know what, I kind of tried to solve it, but I was not I can fight in the sense of that. Then, I'm not going to let someone just, we were always taught, to try to resolve us from that type of home. But long and short, that was not my way. And so I tried to talk it out, but this person didn't want to talk it out, and I had to defend myself. So I was always taught to defend myself. That's the way. That's the best way. That's what I hope that's clear. But long and short, yeah. But long and short, my dad became aware of the situation. He literally took off work, and that was a big deal, because it wasn't in the time where you had, my dad was from a blue collar situation, very hardworking man. My parents were very, very hard workers. But long and short, it wasn't like he just had this time, but because it was important, because he knew it was impacting my safety, potentially my education, he took the time to come up to the school and resolve it, and it got fixed. But I'm just saying all that to say, that was one thing that I distinctly remember about growing up, always having to try to work through certain situations in the neighborhood I was in and where I grew up. But at the end of the day, I really think a lot of support has to come from the home. And because I did have a father, which was even part of some of the jealousy I heard years later. Thankfully, I was blessed to have my dad in the house. That's what I knew. I had my mom. We didn't have a lot, but we were a family. My parents had a 1-bedroom home apartment, not even a home, it was our home, but it was a I'll never forget, we had a 1-bedroom apartment, and my parents, they gave the room to myself and my older brother, because my youngest brother hadn't arrived yet. And we had one bed, and my parents made their bedroom in the living room. And the dining room was the living room, so it was almost like this 1-bedroom. But that apartment was, so like I said, I didn't even know I was in this situation. When you think back to what, sometimes not even knowing what you have and what you don't compares to the economics of life. I just had a full life, with my family, because we always did things together. My parents didn't have a lot, but at that time, but they always made it meaningful. We went to the park together. We just did things. We lived the life. We had dinner together. There's so many things that don't happen in so many instances now for various reasons. So I look back at that, and I really am grateful, more than anything, just, you were rich in a number of different ways, right? Everybody's now chasing money, but you can't, money can't buy family. Money can't buy the values that are instilled in us by those that love us.
Looking for amazing products to help boost your first-class lifestyle? Then head over to firstclasslifeshop.com, where you can treat yourself to personal development books and workbooks, lifestyle affirmation cards, adult coloring books, mugs, notebooks, hoodies, t-shirts, leggings, and more. All products were designed to help you master your mindset, walk in your purpose, and live your first-class life, because you deserve it. So treat yourself today at firstclasslifeshop.com. Again, that's firstclasslifeshop.com.
That is so true. Money cannot buy you family and values. And I noticed that you mentioned you're rich in so many other ways. I had another guest who they were wealthy in the country that she was born in, but then when they came to the States, by state standards, they were not wealthy, and they were all in the apartment together, like you had mentioned. I think she said there was like 7 or 8 of them in like this 2-bedroom apartment, and her not recognizing that they weren't wealthy anymore, and just knowing that the wealth came from her environment. So what advice would you give to the leader out there listening that maybe didn't have that same home support, where they know, like, all right, my parents got me, or, had that opportunity to feel rich, even if they weren't monetarily, financially rich?
And I will add this before I answer that question, Lindsay. It was not a perfect situation. You know how you think, it wasn't that it was perfect, but it was perfect for me when I think back to it, if I could say it that way. Even I want to add this one more thing, at that time it was community, even though we were in this apartment building, that was the time when my uncle lived downstairs in an apartment below. Then my babysitter was across the hall from my uncle. And then she babysitted the whole community, Miss Gentry. She babysitted I think the whole west side of Chicago, so it was more, when I say that, it was definitely a village and a community. So what I would say to answer your question is that you have to find value in where you are and in those that God has put in your life, right? Because I know even the definition of family, it doesn't make anyone more than or less than. It's all in the security of knowing that you are loved, and that there is someone and there is a village or a set or a person that cares about your well-being. So I would say find family. It doesn't necessarily have to even be biological, because we know even now, that's not necessarily the full definition, because some people don't, they don't even, care for what they have, in the sense of, how many times have we heard stories of people, not being close, and even having large families and just not having any type of relationship. So really the definition of family is really finding your footing in what you've been given, and just really looking around and seeing the value. So I think sometimes we can have so many valuable things right around us, Lindsay, and we just ignore it, or we take it for granted, or we're just used to it, or we think it's the norm. But then when you get to a certain stage or in certain circumstances, and you say, wow, that was actually unique, and that was actually my blessing. So that's what I would say. Find value in your community, find value in, and look around and just try to identify what you actually do have and what is working.
Yeah, I like that. Finding value in what you have, because that is really important. And so for that leader out there that is looking for that support and they are trying to identify their value, what are some first steps that you would suggest that they go about doing that?
Great question. And it goes back to, and I'll talk about the project I did in a little bit later, but I think your identity, number one, your identity is critical. You have to know who you are, right? You have to understand your place in this world. I think that's why children struggle. Like you gave the story of this young man, that teacher has so much power, and the teachers in general have so much power to help shape in the formative years in particular, the identity of students, beyond the textbook. I'm a firm believer in that and a recipient of that. So really understanding who you are and getting to that point, as we grow up, we have an idea. Sometimes some people, don't get me wrong, they know right out the gate, I want to do this, I want to do that, I want to serve in this way. I wasn't that child. I had, even though I love school so much, I had so many different interests. And that was that part. I had so many different interests, so it was like I had to figure out, because they were like, okay, you felt like, okay, I need to figure out, I need to declare my major. What am I gonna do with my life? Like my whole life, I gotta figure it out. And that was like me always in this. One thing about me, I had to learn how to become more flexible in my just thinking, because once again, how you're raised and how you go about and how you move has a lot to do with how you even pursue your career. And when you have a situation where you, like you say, you've not had a lot of experiences, especially young people, you have to just, once again, identify who you are, understand your purpose. One thing I learned down the road is what I chose to do, and that was not necessarily my purpose, in the sense of that was not the totality of who I am. And a lot of times in this society and in this world, we try to equate our position, whether it be our job titles, what we think we've accomplished as far as money, all of those create a certain level. And don't get me wrong, it isn't. You do have a certain level of status just by mere default. But what is it that keeps you going? What's at the heart of who you are? So your identity, your purpose, understanding the gifts and talents that you have as your power. What power do you have? What is it? Who are you influencing with what you're doing? Who do you have the greatest passion to make impact on? And knowing that we're here to do that in a way that no one else could do it. I truly believe, and I was listening even today, I think I was in a clubhouse room and they were just talking about how people want to go change. And I always have this theory, people want to go change the world. And, at the end of the day, I really am a believer. You must change the world around you. Be impactful right where you are. If you can't be impactful in your immediate surroundings, and I mean literally in your household, once again, not taking things for granted, not taking people, even when I go out, I'm going out, I'm interacting with people all the time, but sometimes those are the missed opportunities because we're so busy looking for something out there and we've not even acknowledged, wow, maybe I could have impact on that lady in the grocery store today or in the cleaners, or here or there. Where does my impact lie? And treat everybody, as valuable. And I think that starts with that, because I think you're sowing a seed as you do that.
Yes, I love that you mentioned that, because, I talk about in my book, in the chapter on leadership, that every single person is a leader, despite whether you have a title or level of authority or not.
Absolutely.
You're a leader in your home, leader in your community. Even when you don't have that official title, you are a leader, whether
Absolutely.
you recognize it or not. And I was speaking actually just last week to a group of educational staff. And one thing I had said to them was like, you have to make sure that you are working on you, because when you show up, it's time for you to make an impact. You don't know what that child is going through. So when you have that child that's misbehaving, yeah, it's easy to like write them off, send them to the office, or be like, oh, here comes bad old Johnny again. But like, instead, you have to shift your mindset and know, like, this is my opportunity to make a difference, like, and smile at that child, treat them with kindness, ask them how they are, try to get to the root of maybe what that behavior is, because one, you never know what they're going through at home.
Absolutely.
And then you might be the light of that child's day. Like, they might be getting bullied by other students, and that's your opportunity to make an impact. So we have to be very mindful of how we are treating others, and knowing, like you said, the lady at the grocery store, knowing that you could be the difference between an improving day or a worsening day. And it can all start with a simple smile or with a genuine compliment,
Being kind. That was the point I made this morning because it was something, and I don't normally jump in, but it just hit me. Being kind. People they just want you to be kind. Where did that go? Being kind to people.
Yeah, I feel like it's a lost art.
Yeah. It is.
People are still out there being kind, but overall, I feel like everybody is just so hung up in their own selves and trying to do this and trying to do that sometimes it is easy to just lose that moment of kindness. Can you think about a moment that was really impactful for you in your life where somebody unexpectedly was kind to you just right at the perfect moment when you really needed it?
Now you're going to make me think. Let me think. I'm trying to think of a particular moment. And I'll just share this part. We lost our younger brother in October of last year. And there was a particular individual that I was a part of their program. As far as I had invested money, I was gonna be attending their conference in November. My brother passed in October. I had already paid the fee to attend in November. So of course, all of this stuff was happening prior to that. And of course, at that moment, I didn't know if I was going to go, but actually it ended up being a great way for me to kind of get off of what was immediately kind of back into some type of normalcy as far as what I would need to do, just to kind of do something back in the regular part of life. Long and short, this individual, I guess they saw the posts, and they sent, unbeknownst to me, they had sent me flowers, like some beautiful flowers, and I still have it's a beautiful glass jar that it came in. But long and short, I wasn't expecting that, and it's such a nice card, and at the end of the day, that meant a lot to me because it just showed it wasn't just about this person wasn't just seeing me, as someone attending their event and investing. I was investing in their services. They were seeing what I was dealing with in that moment, and they had enough empathy and compassion. So I think that was an immediate thought that came to me. And just a few other people that inboxed me that I would never have expected, but that they just showed, like, I'm really here if you need anything, and I just really appreciated that. I really did.
Yeah, we never know, like, the difference those small acts can make in somebody's life. And so it's especially important as leaders that we are intentional about just finding little pockets of time where we can display kindness to those around us. So,
and isn't that Lindsay, a great way to even be a leader? To me, a leader is just, they have, of course, we know the best leader is one that leads by example, right? Mm-hmm. But at the end of the day, we're not perfect people. People aren't perfect, but just the fact that they were engaged enough. So engaged, like you say, caring about people and being present, is so important. To let people know that. As a leader, even though that's not necessarily, I think of my corporate career, as life went on, and I was in the corporate sector, it was just like you were just always, and there's nothing wrong with that. You have to be professional. It's not, and I'm all about being professional. I learned how to be professional through my experiences as corporate America. But at the end of the day, I made a career pivot, and then even I just made a reality pivot that I'm always bringing myself to work, right? I don't care what job you're doing. I don't care if you're the CEO of a Fortune 500 company. I don't care if you're the pastor of a mega church or neighborhood church. Like you said, people are counting on you, but it's okay. It's okay to show your humanity, right? It's okay to be a human being. And that's what I had to learn. I learned as time went on, it's okay to share how, I might not be having the best day, and it's how you deal with things, right? And how you communicate and articulate that's most important. And people respect that. And I always told my mother, I'll never forget, we had a conversation about a particular situation. And I said, I can respect this person because when you could acknowledge your faults and your weaknesses as a leader, I have even more respect for you. And I think it's like an oxymoron. People think, oh, I'm showing my weak side. Especially, and women, we can show it all day. But even this was a male leader. And I was like, wow, I really respect that about him. And now I really want to get in there and be more committed to the cause because this person is not only showing empathy and humanity, but honesty, integrity, and just being forthcoming. And I think that goes such a long way as a leader, in this world now.
Yeah, you are so right. It made me think about a long time ago. I had this post, and all I simply said was, and it was really how I felt, how that pressure was. So you got to post so many times a day and opportunities. And if you're not posting, you lose all of that crap. And listen, I was working on just doing good, trying to post once a day consistently every day. And there was one day where I was just over it in the day. And so I made a post and I was like, I don't feel like today ain't today.
Today.
Right. It resonated with so many people like, girl, yes. And I was just sharing my honest feelings like, y'all, I don't feel like it today. Okay.
I know that's right. We have to be honest sometimes with ourselves and others. And it's okay to share that. I think people, like you say, you can be more impactful once you are relatable. I think that's so critical.
That's nice. That's nice. Well,
are you loving the First Class Life Show? Then join our private Patreon community. Not only will you help to support our ability to provide you with great content, but you can also get exclusive perks like bonus videos and resources, discounts, episode transcripts, and more. So what are you waiting for? Join today at patreon.com/First Class Life. Again, that's Patreon, patreon.com/First Class Life.
I think that this is a good time to play a little game that I like to call First Class Secrets. Okay, so let me get my timer pulled up here, and it's a real easy game. I'm just gonna say, what is your favorite ... and you fill in the blank. Simple, right?
I can do that.
You gotta get it in 10 seconds or less. So first thing that pops in your mind. If not, if you miss the buzzer, you are going to cause a consequence for the First Class Life family. All right. So listen, it's all about a matter of perspective because what's a consequence to one may be a reward to another. So
the pressure is on.
Yes. So if you miss the buzzer, what does the listening First Class family have to do? They got to take a shot. That's a party consequence. Do they have to do 5 push-ups? That would be a consequence to me, a reward to others.
So I have to come up with that.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, wow. Okay. Well, I'm like,
whether positive or negative, depending on your perspective, if you miss the buzzer.
Oh, I need to come up with that right now. If they miss the buzzer, they have to say something nice to someone that they're not so fond of all the time.
Oh.
Be intentional about making a positive conversation or remark to that. Giving that person a compliment. Giving them a compliment. How about that?
Yes. All right, family. You heard it. If the lovely Felicia misses a buzzer, you have to be intentional about being kind and complimenting somebody that works your nerve. Okay, somebody that's
Exactly.
fond of. All right. So we'll start with something easy. What is your favorite food? Go.
Pizza, Chicago style
Mm,
pizza.
Chicago style pizza. Yes. What is your favorite season and why? Go.
My favorite season is summer. I love the heat. I love outdoors. I love the water.
Mm-hmm. Okay. Look, y'all might not have to compliment y'all. Okay?
Let me go a little slower then. Okay.
What is your favorite book, title, and author? Go.
One favorite book I think of automatically is, I can't think of the author though, so I'll go to another book. How about Maximize the Moment with Bishop T.D. Jakes? Because it's clearly in the message, and the title is in the message.
Look, she might have done that one on purpose. So, Maximize the Moment by Bishop T.D. Jakes.
Yes.
Okay, but you missed the buzzer on that one.
I'm sorry. I was gonna say the Prayer of Jabez because I read that book in one day, but I couldn't think of who the author was. So,
which one?
Prayer of Jabez. It's like a book. It's like a really 98 page. I remember reading that book on a plane in one read. It was just like so awesome.
Yeah. Listen.
That's it. That's the book. Who's the author?
Bruce Wilkinson.
Yeah, Bruce Wilkinson. Yes, that's him. I can't think of his name, but yeah, that's a bestseller right there.
It really is. It really is. Okay, so let's see. Y'all got one compliment. Y'all got to get out.
At least one.
Yes. What is your favorite song specifically? Go.
I'm Every Woman. Whitney Houston.
Okay. Auntie Whitney in the house. Yes. What's your favorite place to travel specifically? Go.
My favorite place right now is Europe, particularly London and Paris. I really love the UK. I love the shopping, the beauty, the uniqueness, the culture. And plus my last name is Shakespeare. I guess that's part of it.
Very fitting. Now about Paris, so I haven't been to Paris yet. I've been to their airport, and actually the plan was to spend the day in Paris because I specifically planned a long layover to have some hours in Paris before we went to our final destination. However, with COVID, they changed all of that, and so I basically spent it all in the Paris airport. But if you aren't into architecture, I heard that Paris was very bland. So what is your thoughts on that?
Absolutely not. It's the most beautiful architecture. You have to do the big bus tour. It's like a burgundy and yellow bus and do the upper deck. I'm telling you, I got some footage that's unbelievable. Because you have the Eiffel Tower, you have the Louvre, the museum. It's just so many beautiful things. I'm surprised people didn't say that. It's very beautiful.
They said it was like the architecture was fine and rich and everything, but more so like just the culture in general and the food. I don't know.
The food was like this. I'm telling you, I went twice, so it was just. It was such an amazing first experience until when I went to I was intentional about saying I'm going back and I'm going back soon, and I was able to go back the following year to speak for an event, and it was amazing. It was just, and I went straight, and I went back to the little what they call it. It's not like a parlor, but just a real nice eatery that they had there. Went back to the little bistro place. I saw the same waiter. It was just so much fun. They had some of the best food. Paris, I'm surprised they didn't know that food is awesome over there. Okay. The bakeries, the macaroons, all that.
Okay, so back to the game. Just a few more.
Oh, okay.
Favorite relaxing activity to do? Go.
Once again, I love shopping, but I also love walking along the lake, just walking around in downtown Chicago, especially in the summertime, seeing the sights and just walking and by water. I'm always at peace. And we have Lake Michigan here. I don't know if people realize I keep talking about water, but we have a massive lake, our lakefront. I think people forget that about Chicago, but we have some of the best we have beaches and lakes and and some of the best architecture too. So.
Yes, that was my fault because I went off on a tangent when you said Paris there. But thank you for playing our game, First Class Life Favorites. And listen, First Class family, make sure that you are a member of our private Patreon community, okay? Because then you will have access to our First Class favorite things. And that is a uniquely curated list written by all of our phenomenal guests. So you'll have our reading list, our song playlist, our places to travel, because we're all about experiences and being cultured, okay? And then we're all about self-care. So all of the favorite relaxing activities, all right? So if you want access, make sure you join our private Patreon community today. So thanks for contributing, Felicia.
Awesome. Thank you. That was fun.
Now, let's get back into this conversation. For those that may be new to the show, First Class Life is actually an acronym, and it represents all of the different characteristics and skills that you want to embody into your lifestyle to be able to create a life full of purpose, fulfillment, and happiness. And I'm not going to go over the acronym, what it means right now, but if you want to find out, you can do one of two things. You can either go back and listen to the very, very first episode of the First Class Life show, where I explain each of them in detail, or you can head to firstclasslifeshop.com and purchase the book where I explain them all in detail. So
I see it.
Do what you do to find it out. But meanwhile, we're going to ask our beautiful guests, which key factor of First Class Life do you resonate with the most?
I love it. And thank you so much again, Lindsay. This has been great. When I think of the I in intentional, I think that is the one for me.
Listen, I called it. Because, sometimes I'll be like, I feel like you're this. But I was like, ooh, let me see if I'm right. Especially when you just mentioned about being intentional for Paris. I was like, Okay, so tell us why you picked intentional.
I picked intentional because I do really believe we have to be intentional about everything we do, anything we want to accomplish in life. Any goal we have, you will never get it passive, right? Whoever heard of anyone accomplishing things passively or by happenstance, right? And they say, I always heard this term, if life's going to happen to you, whether you're intentional or not, right? Life is still going to happen. So we have to decide, really what we want and where we want to go and the things we want to do. And it's just that simple for me. So I really believe in, the aspect of inspiring others to be intentional, because we only get one life. We only get this moment, right? And that's why, and I really feel like that. I really feel like we have to be more in living in a sense of urgency. Not that I have to do everything, but at the end of the day, I can't be passive about life. I have to be intentional.
Yes, we have to, because the life you're living right now is a result of thoughts you had 5 years ago. What are you creating for yourself? So what advice would you give to the leaders listening right now on ways that they can be more intentional?
How can you be more intentional? Once again, goal setting. You have to set goals, right? And when I say that, I think of and I don't want to sound like, goal setting, the SMART goals. Okay, but that is really true. Even when you think of people with vision boards, having a vision board and having a vision, even I was thinking now, I was hearing a few things, just through who I listen to and follow, I really need to go and probably redo a vision board or do, put something. I think I'm going to get some chart paper, literally, and just write out some things that I want to happen before the end of 2022. So once again, being clear, because when you're intentional and when you write out what you want, I think it's a reminder. And like for me, and I know they say there is a study about this, but I'm the type of person that when I write it out, I still believe in the art of taking notes. When I write it out, I'm going to retain it better. So writing things, and anyone that's an author, Right, and I see you writing right now. Right, you can't rely on your memory. And I think it was even my mother was sharing that years ago. Don't just rely on your memory. You got to write it down. So write it down, make it clear, and then now you have something to aim at. You can kind of see, okay, and not just that part, but even now, what are the steps that I'm going to have to take? Like, what are the first initial steps to make this happen? What can I do right now to move it towards this? So I think that's important. To have a vision about what you want clearly in writing, and that would be a great start for any leader.
Yes, yes. Now, tell us how you impact the world as a leader today.
That's a great question. Well, one thing I do, and even when I said intentional, when you guessed intentional, I thought about when I wrote a book called "You Are Your Brand: Building from the Inside Out," and I think. As I wrote that book, I was given the charge to come up with a personal mission statement. I was like, okay, what is my mission statement? And it was really, I came up with this statement: to inspire others to be intentional about living a life of faith and purpose. And I was like, wow. And as a result of that, how life works. A lot of times when you come up with the initial idea, when you write that first book, you really don't know the magnitude, because I think sometimes we're so busy in the moment trying to make things happen and make it right, like you said. And then you have a reflective opportunity to say, wow, this is really bigger than what I could have, it's bigger than me. It's bigger than even my intent, because I had one intention for the book in one sense, and then it began to populate other people, other avatars. I'll use that word, avatars. And I was surprised at how women were gravitating to the project. But long and short, I really believe a big part of what I am here to do is just to be a person of faith in action, and like I said, talking the talk, walking the walk, and being one to achieve goals to help others achieve their goals. And that comes through my written work. That comes through my speaking, that comes through my teaching, that comes through just the service that I give, even in the sphere of faith. So whether the marketplace, or the faith, whatever, just live your life, and I think that's really where I am. I'm a testament to, not having a blueprint, anyone necessarily to be in first generation college graduate in my family, having an opportunity to do it 3 times by God's grace, and just knowing that, it's not impossible. Nothing is impossible if you really put in the hard work and be intentional about your life. So I think that's really what I'm here to say. Ultimately, whether it be to students, to leaders, to the everyday person, guess what? You matter. You're important. And guess what? You have a life and you have a contribution that no one else will be able to make. So back to even your first class life, I think we have a lot of synergies, Lindsay. I came up, I think you were saying something about you, because that's what You Are Your Brand came up with. And I always had this statement that you are a brand whether you know it or not. You are a brand whether you want it to be one or not. You are all, what is a brand? You're representing yourself. That's it. Bottom line. You are your brand. You're always representing yourself. So you have to be intentional about the type of brand that you want to convey. What type, through your personality, and of course there are aesthetics of it. Of course, your appearance, all that plays a part. But ultimately, what's happening on the inside of you, like that inner purpose. What is it that you're here to do, and convey and communicate to the world, so people will know. Guess what? When I see Felicia, I'm going to always think of X, Y, and Z. When I think of Lindsay, I'm going to always think of X, Y, and Z. And you have someone out there. It might not be everybody, but there are people that are literally, I believe that you are called to impact in this world, and you just have to find out who those people are and work to do that on a daily basis.
Do you want to be surrounded by other high-achieving women who are working on their goals just like you? Are you looking for your circle that's passionate about their own growth yet still wants to see you shine? Do you desire to be supported through collaborations and connections instead of competition? then Cowork and Chill is your place to be. Cowork and Chill is a hybrid of virtual co-working and virtual networking. It's a community of women who are striving to build living legacies. This is the space to create meaningful relationships with other equally yoked women where you're being poured into just as much as you pour out. So if you're looking for your crew for supportive accountability, then sign up today at coworkandchill.com. That's COWORKANDCHILL, coworkandchill.com.
Yes. Now, I know you have a little something to share with the First Class family. So tell us about that.
Oh, yeah. On October 1st, I'm actually going to be having a book event at a local bookstore. I know like you said, whether people can be there or not, it's going to be in the Woodfield Mall. I haven't even put the announcement up, but if anybody is around the Chicagoland area, and if this doesn't make it out in time, but I will be there on October 1st at the Barbers Bookstores in the Woodfield Mall shopping center, which is a suburb. It's in a suburb called Schaumburg, Illinois. I'm going to actually be there talking about your brand and just sharing some of my book projects and experiences as well. But in addition to that, if you see this at a point where that date has passed, always feel free to follow me on alivingbrand.com. Alivingbrand, that's my website, because I do have a course that will also be coming out, the You Are Your Brand course. So definitely a way to encourage you to be all you can be and do all that God intended for you to do in this world.
Nice. Now, let everyone know how they can reach you on these internet streets. Where can they follow you and just get all of that Shakespearean goodness?
Awesome. Well, if you are following me on LinkedIn or Instagram, it will be at Felicia Shakespeare. That is my handle. Twitter is I couldn't get Felicia Shakespeare on Twitter for some reason. I think I had too many letters. So I had to do it I am Felicia S. So that's my first name, last initial, I am Felicia S. That's Twitter. And then also follow my new website. It's going to be, by the time you see this, alivingbrand.com. If you could email me also if you need to, there at hello@alivingbrand.com. And once again, inbox me on social media as well. That's another way to reach me.
Nice. Make sure y'all follow her. Make sure y'all reach out and connect. And listen, don't worry. We will have all of those links in the show notes for you. So you can just click away. Okay. Now, do you have any final advice on how we can just create our own first class life full of purpose, fulfillment, and happiness?
Once again, I believe success is what you define it to be, right? So really be intentional about knowing your uniqueness, the value that you bring. I think that's the most important thing we can do in life is really be us, right? Be the carbon copy of you, right? Who are you? Just knowing yourself, giving yourself some grace, giving yourself some goals, and just making sure that once again, you're playing full out. At the end of the day, as we said a little earlier, you're in the moment right now. So just really be that part, be you, and work on being the best version of yourself. So whatever that looks like. So if that means more self-care, if that means giving yourself an opportunity to go on vacation, if it means giving yourself a goal to reach, whether you want to, earn a particular degree or certification, whatever it is, only you can figure that out. But just work towards those things. Give yourself some goals, give yourself some grace, and also always be kind to you. Be kind to you.
Yes. All right, y'all. Make sure y'all stay connected. Make sure y'all post on social media any insights or ahas you got from today's episode, okay? And be sure to tag us. I am Felicia S. Felicia Shakespeare, the First Class Live Show. You know what to do. But let me just say thank you one more time, because I know you could be doing anything in the world right now, but you have spent your time here with us, growing and just developing yourself, because you are out there being a first class life leader, all right, you are maximizing your impact while creating a life full of purpose, fulfillment, and happiness. You deserve it, and make sure you tune in next time. Bye.
Unfortunately, all good things must come to an end. But please be sure to subscribe to the First Class Life Show. And don't forget to rate, leave a review, and join our private community so that we can continue to provide you with great personal development conversations to help you maximize your impact while creating a life full of purpose, fulfillment, and happiness. You deserve it.